Welcome to another edition of In the Winner's Circle. Renee Cairns, Jennifer Morrison. We're out on location.
On
It's
location.
a, it's it's a hot, sticky day. Fruit will be back next week. For those of you that are always anticipating what sort of fruit we have on the desk. As far as Friday's card, lots going on.
Whew.
Yeah, handicapping caps definitely need to be on.
Oh boy, it's incredible actually. We're just coming off a long weekend,
Yeah,
racing last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and we've got more than 200 horses entered just for Friday and Saturday alone,
yeah.
and then another good card on Sunday. So the horses, the racing, excellent. Fields are huge. Let's sharpen our pencils.
Let's sharpen our pencils. As far as the on-track feature for Saturday, we have the Ontario Debutante. Last week we had two stake races on both Saturday and Sunday. That was a little taxing. Good results, though, for the most part. Let's just maybe quickly touch on what happened in the Wonderwear. Not to take anything away from Malcolm Pierce's horse, that was the winner, but unfortunate that Nipissing got hurt and ended up having to be put down.
Well, it's we never like to see something like that, and it's incredible misfortune to say the least. And I know everybody. Hearts went out to Chiefs Wood, Rachel Haldon, Stephen Bayan, everybody associated. I mean, she was really fun to watch. And as I had written earlier this week, that she brought a lot of people together, and a lot of people cheered for her when she was going through the Oaks and the
Yeah.
Queen's Plate, because the people associated with her are easy to cheer for. So we feel bad, and hopefully. There'll be another one like her come
Yeah,
along one day.
because for the Chiefs Wood Stables, it's all about the horse.
It's all about the
It's
horse.
all about the horse, and that's important.
And it's just been announced that they're going to receive the Volterra Award at the Long Run Friday Night Fever party coming up in September.
Yeah,
So
September,
that'll
Friday,
be
September 20th, I believe it is.
okay. So get
Yeah.
your tickets for that and support our horses.
And get your polyester because it is a 70s.
Shake your booty.
You shake your. Okay, let's get away from the booty shaking and talk about the Ontario Debutante Stakes, which is the on-track feature, race number 8 at Woodbine on Saturday afternoon. A field of 6 are going to be lining up with Conquest Whiplash. Broke a maiden in her first start, and that happened to be in the Victoria against.
And it was by more than a neck.
And it was by. It was by more. Ooh, the puns. Goes for the powerful outfit of Mark Casse, who also has Madly Truly, a John Oxley filly, a daughter of Malibu Moon, that Gary Boulanger is going to ride. Skylander Girl, though, she's a filly that has already made 3 starts. This is going to be her 4th. She goes for Alex Padowich, just a small outfit. Wasn't bought for a whole lot of money, just about $4,000 at our local sale. And Jim McElhaney has been aboard for each one of her starts. She won the My Dear convincingly, but I did happen to catch up with Jim McElhaney this morning. This is Thursday morning when we film this. And he told me a little bit about Skylander Girl and his impressions of her because he's been on her right from the get-go.
Today I'm going to talk to you about Skylander Girl, the filly that I ride on Saturday in the Ontario Debutante. I still remember the very first time I got on her. I got to work her half a mile, and she was extremely brilliant on that day. We went off a very nice, easy quarter. We went in about 25, and at the head of the stretch, I decided I'd let her stretch her legs and get something out of it. And it was not just how fast she quickened, but the way that she did it. She did it like a good horse does. She just dropped and stretched her stride and was still comfortable, was effortless, and mentally handled it very well. From there, we progressed to go into our first race, and it was 5/8. We ran into a couple of very nice fillies of Sammy Di Pasquale's. We beat one of those, and one of those caught us late. But Skylander Girl performed very well and performed to our expectations and handled everything very well. I'm very big on the mentality of the horses and how they deal with things. And this filly is very, very sensible and has a great constitution. From our first race, we got to give her a nice long month in between. She come back and ran in the My Dear, which is great because she's a Canadian bred and was able to win against open American horses or open horses. She did really well, and the thing I like about this filly is that she's precocious, but she's not speed oriented. She's not a filly that shows too much speed and then has nothing to finish. She's very malleable and very rideable, and that makes my job a lot easier. She come back a week later in against Canadian breds, and really it was a short race back, but also we had a tough trip to overcome. We were 7 of 10 in a sprint, and the field never really stretched out, so we got hung wide going into the turn, and it was just a little too much for her to overcome. But she still tried really hard. Since then, she's had a nice break. She's had a couple nice preps in between, and her last work the other day was really, really impressive. It was her first time working on the dirt, and she was well within herself, and yet still went 3/8 and 34. Again, she pulled up and walked home comfortable and quiet, and she's doing really, really well. She's a very exciting filly to be around. I've had the privilege of being around some nice two-year-old fillies in my career, and so far to this date, she lays right up there with them. She's got a lot of upside to her. She's bred top and bottom for turf, so there's always that angle that can go for. But really, it's her malleableness, the fact that she's got a lot of talent, but yet she's very settled the first part of the race.
So I think one of the best qualities for a 2-year-old that can go in 34 and change is that when it comes to a race, they're tractable.
Yeah, certainly, and we've already seen that with Skylander Girl. I mean, came so close to winning her debut, just missed. Was let go at 11-1 in the My Dear, an open race, which is like this race here, the
Yep.
Ontario Debutante, and she really won convincingly. 65 buyer figure is quite a decent number for this time of season for the 2-year-olds, and I mean, look at her. Shady Well Stakes was a week later,
Yeah.
eight days later,
And he mentions that. It was tight.
certainly, and she had a little bit of a rough trip, and she was going to probably regress a little bit anyways. Maybe she bled as a result of that race because she's getting first-time LASIK. So, anyway, Skylander Girls come back with a fast workout. Notice that the horse that she was fourth to last time, the Shady Will, on Rainbow Bridge, has already come back to win another stakes race with a 69 buyer figure. Paladin Bay was second to the Shady Will, has also come back to run well again behind.
So that
on
was
Rainbow
legit
Bridge.
company.
Legitimate race. These are, certainly a little bit tougher, but, no horse in this race so far has run a 65 buyer, which is what Skylander Girl did in the My Dear Stakes.
But a horse like Conquest Whiplash, who hasn't raced now since that first start against the boys on June 22nd, she scored a 58 buyer, so she has a license to improve on that a little bit.
And certainly, she beat the Colts.
She beat the boys.
She was first time out. Everybody knew about her, and her breeding is, she's sort of like a Florida bred speed breeding. Not a whole lot to hang your hat on, and she's not a very big horse. But she beat the Colts under essentially a hand ride with a 58, so she probably could have run whatever Eurico da Silva wanted her to go in. So she's obviously the horse to beat here. Plus, she has the outside post, and
which is more advantageous.
Exactly. And I don't know who's faster in here. She's going to be in front by a good margin early in the race. She's going to have to be caught.
A $370,000 purchase at OBS in April of this year. So I think the Ontario Debutante, although it's small in number, I think it is big in quality. The
Yes.
boys, I think it's going to be a very good race,
Yeah,
and
very tough.
it might not just be between those two. So the girls in the spotlight for the Debutante on Saturday. The boys are in the spotlight for the Vandal, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. That's going to be race number 8. But what caught my eye on the program or the overnight for Sunday's card was the 5th race. This is a maiden special. It's for 2-year-olds going 3/4, and you've got some horses in here that are really well bred, including that first-time starter for Roger Atfield, Tower of Texas, half to Silver Highlight. 3/4 to Street Sounds. This is an incredible field. You've got a half to Up with the Birds, who was second in the plate this year, and you've got one that is by the same sire as Skylander Girl, and that is Stroll. This is a good race.
It's a great race. And, this is the time of year, late July, August, early September, where you get these really loaded maiden allowance races for 2-year-olds. The 2-year-olds with the big, just juicy pedigrees. I mean, we've been looking at, it's a Bernardini Mark Casse first-time starter in that race. Oil Strike that costs $435,000 and has the workouts to match the 59s, the 59. So I mean, a beautiful field, and certainly fun to watch. And you have to certainly check the tote board a little bit. See if it definitely talks with those kind of races for sure. And see if there's any early betting. See what happens. See if there's any movement.
I think that's going to be a great race, and that is part of the pick 4. The Vandal going as race number 8, $150,000. This is an Ontario-bred race for the 2-year-olds, and Mark Casse well represented in here as well. He's got the inside horse, a first-time starter for John Oxley, and that is Matador. Another firster for Mike DiPaolo from the outside post is Platinum Glory. And you've got Man O'Bear going for Reed Baker. A horse coming in for Michael Stidham. Heart to Heart is one that was bought here for about $30,000, and it's an English Channel 2-year-old When
Yes.
you think of English Channel, you think of very long and very green.
Yeah,
And
certainly.
this is a horse that won going 5.5 furlongs at Arlington with Big Buyer.
Yeah, he's an Ontario bred. He's out of a Silver Deputy mare, so perhaps that's where he got his precociousness and
Mm-hmm.
speed from. I mean, look, we saw Strait of Dover, who was also by English Channel and ran very well in his going short in his 2-year-old season. So the English Channels, the Smart Strike under the Silver Deputy, that cross of breeding can certainly give you a main track and some speed. And this horse was gone. I mean, he was like they get the gates open and he was long
over.
gone. Yeah, I mean, he won easily. What's going to happen in the Vandal Stakes? I mean, how many speed horses are we going to have in here? We know Go Greeley is going to be heavily bet. He's already won the Collins Stakes, changed his running style that day. He was gone too. This is this is a very good colt. He's just getting better and better. And I think he can run any way he wants to. Now, he's inside of Heart to Heart. Is he going to want to go and, is there going to be a big speed battle? Then you've got more speed on the outside, like in the form of Enjoy the Movie, very fast. Iron Wolf, also very quick. And the horses that are coming off the pace here. How about that horse that won first time out at 70-1 in June for Vito Armada, Figgy's Mobile Pride? I mean, are you kidding me? And this horse came from like off the pace, and he hasn't run. It looks like they've been pointing this race. I mean, who says that he can't come tumbling down the stretch and pick up the speed? Now, obviously, you have to be a little bit bullish on the one horse, Matador.
Oh, geez.
John Oxley and Mark Casse, a Malibu Moon, 59 workout, 59's at OBS, 59's on the Polytrack here.
Clearly has talent.
Clearly has talent. So, he's obviously a horse to consider. But I think you're looking at Go Greeley to probably survive the pace duel and be in the top 3 for sure, and looking for some closers. And I think that you can't discount this Figgy's Mobile Pride.
You know one thing that I noticed though about Heart to Heart? It was a 5.5 furlong race. Fractions not quick. You're going 5.5. Opening quarter was in 23 and 2, 47 and change. That's not very fast.
No. Now, if you have to, if we were studying the Arlington surface that day, was that slow? Because
that's the thing that we don't know.
Yeah. Now, all you need to do is go and find the charts on a website from Arlington that day. Was that actually a regular times fractions for that day?
Because it got a nice buyer. Got a 76 buyer.
Got a 76 buyer, and that pretty much tells you that the track was on the slow side that day. Now, obviously, our Polytrack is a little bit different, but this looks like a pretty good horse, and Mike Stidham is training the horse for Canadian Terry Hamilton, so we certainly can cheer for that horse as well. But that's a really good race, the Vandal, and combined with a maiden allowance, you got 2 tough pick fours. Yeah, very tough pick fours. Again, you're gonna have to get out your pencils for sure.
Because you could go pretty deep in this race. Even a horse like Iron Wolf, who broke his maiden first time out.
Yep, and he easily beat Enjoy the Movie, who then came back to win, leading all the way. So we have lots of young runners who like to be quick, speedy out of there. Now we're going 6 furlongs and not 5, though. So it's that last furlong, and that's where the experience for Go Greeley comes in as an advantage.
It's a good-looking horse, too. Big, strong horse, Go Greeley. I saw him on the track a couple of weeks ago. He looks like a good horse.
Yeah,
he has a presence about him, and he looks like a good horse.
Yeah, and he's certainly coming to hand very quickly for John Ross.
So a couple of stake races for Woodbine's racing action on the weekend. The Ontario Debutante for the girls on Saturday. The Vandal for the boys on Sunday. Jim McElhaney was kind enough to give us 2 minutes for our 2 minutes with today. And as far as some things that maybe you don't know about Jim McElhaney, I like the name of his first winner, Double D Club.
Double D Club.
Double D Club was the name of his first winner. I asked him if there was a horse that maybe he had ridden that he would love to ride again, or maybe one that he had never ridden that he would love to ride. And you know what? He's financing available. He'd love the chance to get to ride her a few more times, obviously retire, but what a great mare she was.
Yeah, and actually one of her sons is racing on Friday, I believe it is. Yeah, on Friday, Bears Banker. So financing available. Hopefully she'll produce another one like herself.
You never know. And the most influential in making his career as a jockey was his cousin Peter, who was also a jockey. Peter taught him everything that Jimmy knows, but not necessarily everything that he knows.
Ah, okay. I see.
So he's got to keep a little bit in reserve.
I get that.
But he's told me that before, that his cousin was really willing to help him and taught him a lot about racing, and that's important. You need a coach in this game. Everybody needs a coach, and somebody that can watch from a different perspective.
No, that's absolutely true, and it's
Like I'm watching you right now from a different perspective.
Oh, I've been doing that for a while, I think. I would like to mention, next Thursday, actually, about the time we'll be doing this, next Thursday is the Hall of Fame inductions, Canadian Horse Racing Hall of Fame inductions. So we're going to be there and supporting all the great horsemen, women, and horses that are being inducted this year. So that'll be a fun night. And it's nice to celebrate all our horsemen and talk about them. And
is
and
a silent auction to raise money as well?
Silent auction to raise money, and that's where my downfall is. So I'm going to have to leave the credit card at home. Or not.
That's a safe place for it, I think.
Yeah.
Another edition of In the Winner's Circle comes to an end. Every edition brought to you by the HPBA of Ontario, and we thank them for their support. Some Twitter addresses there on the bottom of the screen. If you would like to send something along, we're always open to just about anything.
Just about
anything. Hope we gave you some information that will help you find your way to the Winner's Circle.